Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. My name is Brandon Guel, and today I'm going to be telling you about gliding tree frog reproduction. So frogs reproduce in an amazing variety of ways, especially in the tropics. For instance, some males form leks, calling night after night, and females choose their mates, while others breed just a few times a year in intense scramble competition, like shown here. We study gliding tree frogs, which reproduce during large, explosive breeding aggregations over ponds on Costa Rica's Osa Peninsula. Our current understanding of explosive breeding behavior is largely based on temperate aquatic breeding species. However, we know that explosive breeding also occurs in the tropics, including among species with terrestrial egg laying, which has evolved at least 50 times. And because of this, we know very little about if or how terrestrial egg laying might change how sexual selection acts on reproductive tactics in explosive breeding systems. Like other explosive breeders, gliding tree frogs mate during large aggregations with highly male-skewed sex ratios, and they engage in intense male-male scramble competition, as shown here. Most males fail to acquire mates, and single males often cluster around amplexed pairs, forming mating balls, in attempts to dislodge amplexed males and take their place both before and during oviposition. As males scramble for these mating opportunities, amplexed females will lay egg clutches in thin monolayers on the surfaces of leaves, forming large masses of eggs. In addition to these classic scrambling behaviors, we have often observed non-amplexed males perform two distinct behaviors depicted in these videos. During vent positioning, shown on the left, single males sneak up beside amplexed females and position their vents directly beside hers during oviposition. During egg kicking, shown on the right, males position themselves over recently laid eggs and perform alternating sets of kicking motions with their hind legs, sometimes for several minutes and even after amplexed pairs leave. Often, several males kick at the same egg mass and even seem to compete for the optimal kicking position. However, although these behaviors seem common among non-amplexed males in our observations, we know very little about their true functions. Scott and Starrett hypothesized that egg kicking by male gliding tree frogs functions as an antagonistic strategy to remove and kill competitors' offspring. If egg kickers successfully dislodge eggs, this tactic could increase the relative reproductive success by decreasing the survival of competitors' offspring, thus making this behavior adaptive. However, this hypothesis is speculative and was based on just 3 direct observations. So to test this hypothesis and assess whether egg kicking by males dislodges eggs from clutches, we analyzed video recordings of egg kicking by males at a pond on Costa Rica's Osa Peninsula. We analyzed 754 individual kicks by 57 different males at 47 egg masses across 9 reproductive events and 2 breeding seasons. On average, we found that the males we observed kicked eggs about 13 times and up to 61 times. And there was only one case, shown here, where a single egg fell from its clutch during kicking. However, we attribute this rare case of egg dislodgement to the fact that this egg and the surrounding abnormally structured egg mass were already loosely attached to the leaf before the male began kicking. So our findings suggest that egg kicking by male gliding tree frogs does not function to dislodge competitors' eggs, and instead serves a different purpose. Our current hypothesis is that clasping amplexed pairs, vent positioning, and egg kicking all function as alternative reproductive tactics through which non-amplexed males may fertilize some eggs. To test this, we are collecting behavioral data from video recordings like this one, and DNA samples from eggs and their putative parents. And we will use genetic parentage analysis to assess the function and associated reproductive success of all of these behaviors. If, as it appears, male gliding tree frogs exhibit multiple reproductive tactics, this work will create new opportunities for research on reproductive variation in explosive breeding tropical frogs with terrestrial eggs. And it may have implications for understanding reproductive systems more broadly. I'd like to thank my colleagues, collaborators, and funding sources, and to you for listening. Thanks.